A very warm welcome to you to this National eVesak event as we bring together people from all corners of Australia to commemorate the Buddha's birthday. Vesak Day is internationally recognised as the most sacred day in the Buddhist calendar and is officially recognised by the United Nations. Each year, Buddhists all around the world would host Vesak celebrations as a chance to reflect on the Buddha's life and his teachings, and a chance to bring our community together for such celebrations. This year, however, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected countless individuals and communities all around the world. Many Buddhist monasteries and centres have had to temporarily close their doors to visitors or limit access to comply with government regulations. Many Vesak events and weekly gatherings have also been cancelled. While some doors may have been closed, the door of the Dharma, being the Buddha's teachings, is still open to us. Whilst we may be in separate places practicing social distancing, we hope this event will bring us together in kindness for the Buddha's birthday and remind us of what is common between us and within us. We also hope to use this opportunity to raise awareness for the struggles that others may be going through and encourage you to support your local Buddhist temple or organisation, or perhaps your state's Buddhist council. This eVesak event is made possible by our generous volunteers and contributors offering their time and skill to bring today's presentation to you. If you would like to show your appreciation for our work, feel free to leave a comment and make a donation. We have such an impressive lineup of presenters with contributors from all around Australia. We have monastics and lay practitioners from the major Buddhist traditions who will offer chanting, prayers, guided meditation sessions and reflections to help all of us through this pandemic. My name is Tina Ng and I am joined by Simon Kearney from Victoria. Together, we will be your Masters of Ceremony for this event. Simon is the President of the Victorian Observance of the United Nations Day of Vesak. He is a Director and a Vice President at the Buddhist Discussion Centre in Upwey in Victoria. Simon is a secondary school teacher of English and Humanities. We invite you to take this journey together with us to different parts of Australia to meet with Buddhist teachers and practitioners as we commemorate the Buddha's birthday together in kindness.
Tina Ng is the Principal Solicitor of Metta Legal, a Buddhist law firm in Sydney. Tina is also an accredited mediator at Metta Resolution and is the founder and president of the Metta Centre, a Buddhist centre next to her law firm in Bankstown. Tina is on the board of the Buddhist Council of New South Wales and actively supports various organisations in the Buddhist community. We respectfully invite First Nations Dja Dja Wurrung woman Rihanna Kerr to conduct the official welcome to country.
Bangye womanjika, banana no jandak, larek Dja Dja Wurrung kundija. I welcome you to country, home of the Dja Dja Wurrung people. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rihanna Kerr. I am 22 years old and I am a proud 6th generation descendant of Leonard Kerr, one of the 18 apical ancestors of the Dja Dja Wurrung people who occupy central Victoria. I would like to welcome you all here today to this incredible online platform that we have had to move to due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and what an incredible way it is to be able to reach out and connect to people all over Australia and be able to share my culture and my passion with you all. I would like to pay respects to my Dja Dja Wurrung ancestors, past, present and emerging, and forward that respect to any other First Nations people tuned in with us today. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Womanjika wukak mangja delkup murupuk. I wish you all good spirit. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
It's our privilege now to have our Prime Minister's address. Prime Minister Scott Morrison has sent his message to us, which I now invite Michael Wells, President of the Federation of Australian Buddhist Councils, to read out the Prime Minister's message.
Hello and welcome, Venerable Sangha and friends in the Dharma. Before reading the message from the Prime Minister, I wish to express my thanks for the welcome to country by Rihanna Kerr of the Dja Dja Wurrung here in Bendigo. I pay my respects to all First Nations elders throughout Australia, past, present and emerging. I acknowledge your significant and enduring relationship to country, and I share my love of this country with you. And now to the message from the Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable Scott Morrison. Vesak is usually a time of special celebration for Buddhists across the world. It's a time of prayer and quiet reflection, as well as generosity and devotion. However, this year will be very different as we all experience a global health crisis. It's an unprecedented crisis, a once-in-a-century event. It requires every single one of us to be mindful of our civic duty. All of us have a role to play in keeping our community safe. Employers, nurses, doctors, teachers, scientists, friends, family and neighbours. I know we will rise to the challenge. I know we can draw on deep wells of courage and compassion, each of us strengthened by our families, our neighbours, our trust in each other and our hope of better days. Life has changed and it will continue to change in the months ahead. But Australians are remarkably resilient people and we are working together with a new sense of purpose. Though we cannot gather together in our places of worship or congregate in public celebration, we can be together in spirit. We can draw strength from the values of compassion, charity, kindness and respect. All these I know the Buddhist community upholds. They are values that the world now needs more than ever as we look toward better days. I wish Australia's Buddhist community all the best for a healthy and peaceful Vesak, and thank you for all you give to Australia, this special place we call home. The Honourable Scott Morrison, MP, Prime Minister of Australia. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. We have the honour of receiving a message from the Honourable Alan Tudge, MP, Acting Minister for Immigration, Citizenship, Migrant Services and Multicultural Affairs, which will be read by Garwin Powell-Davies, the Chair of the Buddhist Council of New South Wales.
Welcome everyone. It's very moving to be part of this first national broadcast eVesak event, and I'm delighted to be sharing it with you all. And for us all to remember that wherever we are in Australia, we are indeed on Aboriginal land. This is the message from Minister Tudge. I send my warmest wishes to Buddhist Australians commemorating Vesak, the most important celebration in the Buddhist calendar, where Buddhists across the world spend the day commemorating the birth, enlightenment, and the passing of the Buddha. Buddhist Australians celebrate Vesak Day in many ways, including decorating temples and monasteries, participating in processions and prayers, or spending the day at temples in meditation and quiet reflection. Obviously, commemorating Vesak for Buddhist Australians this year is going to be a very different matter as we face an unprecedented global health crisis. At this time, we all have a role to play in keeping our communities safe. While we cannot gather in temples and monasteries or participate in processions, we can be together in spirit, reflecting on the life and teachings of the Buddha. Faith gives us strength and inspiration at times of uncertainty and disruption. We can all draw from the image of the Buddha, a message of compassion, charity, kindness, and resilience in the face of life's challenges. I thank the Buddhist Australian community for your continued contribution to our nation and wish you every health, happiness, and peace as you mark this holy occasion. Alan Tudge. Thank you very much.
In order that our event be a vast blessing to all beings, we will now listen to a recitation of the Invitation of Devas. The significance of this chant is its power to protect us from the negative influence of malignant beings and to promote health, well-being, prosperity and happiness. To chant the Invitation of Devas in the Theravada tradition, the teaching of the elders, is Most Venerable Vijayathero, the abbot of Dharmasarana Temple in Victoria. Next up, from the Chinese Mahayana tradition, is Venerable Bin Rushi, abbot of the Prajna Monastery in New South Wales. Venerable Bao Rushi will be explaining the bathing Buddha ritual that is often conducted during Vesak events using a Buddha statue such as this one next to me right here. With one finger pointed to the heavens above and the other pointed to the earth below to symbolise that between heaven and earth, the Buddha is the honoured one.
Venerables, summer friends, this year is very special. All the Buddhist monastery and devotee celebration for Buddha's birthday. Everyone is know about this virus. All the monastery is closed. So like before, all the monastery celebration in the monastery, in the temple, in the public for everyone. But this year, we just close. We just very simple celebration for Buddha's birthday. Like a Mahayana. In the Mahayana, the Chinese calendar is the 8th of the April. But in the Theravada, it's in the May. Just in the May, all the month in the Western country, we celebration for Buddha's birthday. In the Mahayana, we have that baby Buddha. We have that holy water. This holy water, where there is the incense, sandalwood, make the holy water, and fresh flowers is bath for the baby Buddha. The Buddha, of course, don't need to bath. We just use this water, use the flowers. This means clean our body, clean our mind. We wish our suffering and of ourselves. So that's why when we wash baby Buddha, and after we just wish ourselves be well and happy, be well and healthy, be well and all the sentient beings be well and happy. And sometimes still we in the monastery, to all days we're chanting. We're chanting for Shakyamuni Buddha. So still today I give the short chanting for everyone be well and happy. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha. So everyone is the same at home. You just meditation or chant the sutra or mantra, we are all the sentient beings feel well and happy. It's said, like use the holy water, is clean our body, all the sentient beings feel well and happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Venerable. We would now like to invite Venerable Gyalten Dongdrop and Venerable Tenzin Lectron from the Great Stupa of Universal Compassion in Victoria to conduct the recitation of the Heart Sutra. Taya Tao Moni Moni Maha Munaye Soha Taya Tao Moni Moni Maha Munaye Soha Taya Tao Moni Muni Maha Munaye Soha Taya Tao Muni 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 Muni Maha Munaye Soha. I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did I hear, at one time, the Bhagavan was dwelling on Massive Vulture's mountain in Rajagriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya, Avalokiteshvara, looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya, Avalokiteshvara: how should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya, Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom shall look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form also is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient and not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no odour, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation and path.
There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequalled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truths, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that. It is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have indicated, even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Shaudvati Putra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara, and those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan.
Venerable Bonyon Sanim is the current chair of the Australian Sangha Association. She resides at the non-sectarian nuns' residence called Terra Metarama in Sydney. She will complete a chant of the Great Compassion Dharani.
Shimyo tangu te darani namora danararaya namakaya parogi che sebaraya moji sarabaya mahasarabaya mahagaro nikaya om salbabaye sudarana Araya rasamyong namakari daba imangaya parogi sebara daba iraganta isami salbata suranang subanayeyom salbaboranang baba maramis takandanyata om maroke aroka Majiroka jikaranje ehare mahamoji sarapa samara samara mune kurokoro salbada saraya daro daro miyanje mahamiyanje dara dara darinar sebara jara jara marami mara Amara moje oge sebara amisami nasaya nabesami nisaya mohajara misami nasaya haro 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 nagasa sara sara shiri shiri saro saro mocha mocha modaya modaya Mudaya Vedariya Niraganta Namasa Sadhanang Barahanaya Manaksabha Shitaya Sabaha Mahashitaya Sabaha Shitayu Esebaraya Sabaha Niragantaya Sabaha Baraha Mokashina Mokaya Sabaha Bamasa Haraya Sabaha Agara Yoktaya Sabaha Sanka Somnane Modanaya Sabaha Mahara Tadaraya Sabaha Bamasa Kanta Isashi Cheda Karina Inaya Sabaha Matara Jamani Basanaya Sabaha Namora Danadaraya Manak Sabaha Baru Bije Sebaraya Sabaha.
The theme of today's event is to come together in kindness for the Buddha's birthday, as we all come together today to be a part of this meaningful event. This event has also brought together many volunteers and contributors from all around Australia during our time organising this event, building friendships and connections via our Zoom meetings and countless emails. If you would like to support today's event, please consider donating. I now have the pleasure of introducing someone who greatly assisted the organising of today's event, the Chair of the Federation of Australian Buddhist Councils, Mr. Michael Wells.
Hello again. An event like today would not have been contemplated a year ago. Most of us would have been busy planning to attend our local temple, renewing our vows and aspirations, and looking forward to catching up with old Dharma friends. Yet, perhaps we should not be surprised. Our Dharma teachers frequently remind us that the only constant is change. And we are now in a very substantial time of change, the time of COVID-19. It was while discussing how best to share information on the virus with the Buddhist community that the idea of an online Vesak ceremony was born. Working together at a distance, but connected through technology, we realised that it would be possible to record messages from our respected Dharma teachers and to share these with others. We would not miss out on celebrating Vesak after all. As has been evident elsewhere in the community, the current difficulties have brought out hidden qualities and talents as people seek to respond creatively to the situation in which they find themselves. The Buddhist community is no exception. Dharma practitioners have risen to the challenge of maintaining faith and community in lockdown. Social media, sometimes reviled for diminishing our lives, has demonstrated that used wisely, it has the capacity to bring people together and provide information, support and comfort in these uncertain times. And it's through harnessing these newer means of communication that we're able to share this program with you today. I hope you enjoy the presentations. Whether you watch for a few minutes, dip in and out of the programs, or stay until the very end. We are grateful that our wonderful Sangha have so wholeheartedly agreed to join with us and contribute their time and effort to the event. I think you will be amazed by the quality and diversity of the presentations. I am sure you will agree they show the Buddha Dharma is alive and well in Australia. In closing, I would like to ask you to remember to support your local temple. With the doors closed and programs online only, there remains a need for donations to sustain temples until such time as they are able to reopen. Please continue to support them. Finally, I offer my gratitude to the wonderful team of people who have worked quite tirelessly to put this program together in less than 6 weeks. They have done an amazing job and they have my heartfelt thanks and deep admiration. On behalf of the Federation of Australian Buddhist Councils, the Australian Sangha Association, the various state councils and the Nantien Institute, I wish you a very happy Vesak. Thank you and good day.
We now move into a special segment of the program with the offering of prayers from Buddhist monastics from all around Australia. You will hear the prayers being chanted in different languages and from different Buddhist traditions. Allow the prayers to touch you deeply and to fill your heart with peace. To introduce the first prayer, I now invite the Chair of the Buddhist Council of New South Wales, Gowan Powell-Davies. Since coming into this role, Gowan has played a very active role in the Buddhist community, and his tireless efforts continue to help steer the Buddhist Council of New South Wales so we may continue to support the Buddhist community.
Welcome everyone. My name is Gowan Powell-Davies. I'm the Chair of the Buddhist Council of New South Wales. And on behalf of the Council and the more than 150 Buddhist organisations and more than 207,000 Buddhist individuals in New South Wales, welcome to this online Vesak celebration. We're a very varied community. We come from more than 60 different countries, speak nearly that many languages, and we have different traditions and rituals. But we have this in common, a commitment to the Triple Gem, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And so it's entirely appropriate that we should come together this Vesak to celebrate the birth, the enlightenment, and the death of the Buddha, even if we do so from our own homes. This next section of the programme is prayers from a number of different traditions. We begin with a Mahayana prayer in Chinese from Nantien Temple. Nantien Temple is at the forefront of humanistic Buddhism. And the Buddhism that it teaches focuses on loving kindness, equanimity, joy, and peace. During these difficult times, they say, it is important to come together and share and celebrate these values. I wish you all peace and happiness this Vesak.
攻读佛光山开山星云大师为新冠肺炎疫情向佛陀祈愿文。慈悲伟大的佛陀，这次全球发生的新冠肺炎疫情，许多人受到委屈、苦难和惊吓，祈求您的慈悲加倍，让我们具备勇气与智慧。暂时的隔离，我们可以当作闭关，自我反省；一时的不便，我们可以静心正念，自我潜修。慈悲伟大的佛陀，世界上无论再怎么困难，只要以慈悲智慧面对，人人行三好，做好事，说好话，存好心，大家纵使环保护生，必能转危为安。慈悲伟大的佛陀，祈求您让生病的人尽快痊愈，恢复健康，不幸往生者蒙佛接引，安心归去，让社会净化，远离疫情，让普罗大众平安吉祥。慈悲伟大的佛陀，祈求您接受我至诚的祈愿。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。慈悲心
Thank you, Venerable Jufang and other venerables from Nyanten Temple in New South Wales for their COVID-19 prayer and transfer of merits from the Chinese Mahayana tradition. I'm pleased to now introduce Venerable Phuc Tan to offer a speech as Chair of the Buddhist Council of Victoria and Abbot of Quang Minh Temple in Braybrook, Melbourne, who will then lead the prayer of the verses for the Buddha's birthday from the Vietnamese Mahayana tradition.
Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. Dear most venerable Sangha, monks and nuns, distinguished guests, Buddhist fellow ladies and gentlemen, this year Vesak have come at the special time, the time that there are a lot of fear and confusion about the pandemic. But it's also a special time for all of us to see the values in the teachings of the Lord Buddha. A few weeks ago, beginning of the restriction, our Prime Minister, Honourable Scott Morrison, he have said, life is impermanent, the world is impermanent. As a Buddhist, we have think of this and meditate on this every day, every time we perceive the world. Yet, times change. We should change for better. If the virus have come create the darkness of confusion, of uncertainty in health, in economy, in our way of life, I wish all of you to be strong and bright like the star in the night. You're like the healer, and we all together like a river flow nourishing the land. On behalf of the Buddhist Council of Victoria, all the staff, executive member, and all the members, may I wish you all to be well, happy, and safe. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. Từ hôm nay gặp ngày khánh đàn, môn giả vui mừng, cúi đầu đảnh lễ, thầm phương tam thế, liều ngự Như Lai, cùng thánh hiền tăng, chúng con cùng pháp giới chúng sanh, bởi thiếu nhân lành, hãy đều xa đọa, tham thân chấp ngã, quên hẳn đường về, tình ái si mê, tù trong lũng đạo, đắm dây phiền não, nghiệm bao khôn cùng. Nay nhờ Phật tổ năng nhân, dụ lòng lân mẫn, không nợ sanh lanh thiêu phương, nặng kiếp luân hồi, đêm dài thăm tối, đua tuệ rạng soi, nguyện cứu muôn loài, thầy dùng phương tiện, ta bà thị hiền, tinh chúng họ sanh, khánh ma gia mộng ức điềm lành, của tình phạm phước sanh con hào, 32 tương tôn, vừa mới 9 tuổi xuân, lòng tự ái cực thuận, chi xuất trần quá mạnh, ngai vàng quyết tranh, tìm lối xuất gia, 6 năm khổ hạnh rừng già, 7 thân nghiêm tinh thiền to, chứng thành đạo quả, hàng phụng ma binh, 3 cõi đều dậy tiếng hoan nghênh, muôn vận hãy nhờ ơn thế độ, chúng con nguyện gian khổ ấy hồng đòi đừng thanh quang minh, cuối sinh phận tổ giam thành, từ bi gia hộ chúng con cùng pháp giới chúng sanh, chống thành đạo cả. Nam mô Ta Bà thế giới tam giới đạo sư tứ sanh từ hộ nhân thiên giáo chủ thiên ba ức hóa thân bổn sư thích ca mâu ni Phật. Nam mô bổn sư thích ca mâu ni Phật. Nam mô bổn sư thích ca mâu ni Phật. Nam mô bổn sư thích ca mâu ni Phật.
To recite the Shin Shin Rei Triple Gem chant in Japanese, we invite Reverend Shigenobu Watanabe, minister at Hongwaji Buddhist Mission in New South Wales.
In the Mahayana tradition, there is a popular and profound sutra that is chanted in different languages. Many in the audience may know this as the Heart Sutra. We now move south to Victoria to meet with Venerable Chikwan Sunim, the abbess of the Sion Centre in Victoria, who will be chanting this sutta in Korean.
광명운대 준변밥계 공양시반 모량무법숭 헌향진원 옴바라트비아홈 옴바라트비아홈 옴 바라트비아홈 마하반야 바라밀타 신경 안자제보살 hen심반야 바라밀타 시주 교원 개공도일체 코엑사리자색 무이공공 무이색색 죽시공공 죽시색 수상hen신 요포 요시사리자시제법공 생불묘부 고부중부중부 감시고 운염무세무수상hen식 안개내비술 신매무색산양미적포모안개내지모이 십계모무명명모모명진내 모노사연 모노사진 모고지멜토모지오무토김 도꼬보리살타이 한야하라밀타 고심모가에 무가에 고무유원보리 몬상국영열반삼세제오이 반야바라밀타 고둑간역타라 삼약삼보리 만야바라밀타 시래진주 시래명주 시모상주 시모 등등 주는 제 고심슈보로보살 반야바라밀타 죽수주얼아제 아제바라 제바라 상아제모지 아제 아제바라 제바라 상아제모지 사바하 제 아제바라 제바라 상아제모지 사바하.
We now cross over to Western Australia to meet with Ms. Cecilia Mitra. Cecilia is one of the current Buddhist Council of Western Australia representatives on the Federation of Australian Buddhist Councils and was the chair of the Federation of Australian Buddhist Councils for the last 3 years. She's also an active member of the International Buddhist Confederation. Cecilia is also on the Human Research Ethics Committee, Southern Metropolitan Hospitals. It's my pleasure to introduce and invite Cecilia to share her Vesak message with us.
Vesak greetings from Western Australia. WA is happy to be part of this auspicious occasion in a national celebration of Vesak. Thank you, Prime Minister, the Honourable Scott Morrison, for your leadership at this time and for your Vesak message. We also thank the Honourable Alan Tudge for your Vesak message. I thank the President of the FABC, Michael Wells, and my colleagues on the FABC committee. I also thank Venerable Jiwei and everyone who has made this special Vesak celebration possible. The FABC has been working behind the scenes to unite and represent the Australian Buddhist community. And we rely on you for your continued support through your local temples, membership in your state Buddhist councils. It is your state Buddhist council which represents you at the Federation. In WA, our various organizations have been celebrating Vesak through live streaming and other online media platforms. Vesak Day is the most important day on the Buddhist calendar. Every year, the FABC works to make Vesak special for you. FABC celebrated Vesak in Federal Parliament in Canberra at the invitation of the government in 2017. The social distancing rule is the reason behind this year's manner of celebrating Vesak online. During this pandemic, because of isolation and social distancing rules, our temples have been empty, but Dhamma teachings have been plentiful, more than usual, with daily teachings and guided meditation online. Thank you to all our monastics for the extra teachings and to our lay communities for stepping up in their continued support of our Sangha. This pandemic has been a challenge for many of us, but it's also been a wake-up call to understand that the root cause of all problems to humanity is greed, hatred, and delusion, expounded by the Buddha more than 2,500 years ago. Vesak offers a wonderful opportunity to reflect on this teaching. Today also happens to be Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all mothers. And for those of us who may have lost our mother, or a child or children, it is a time to give ourselves a big hug and reflect on the wondrous opportunity to have loved and to have been loved by those special people. It is also the time to reflect on the Buddha's teachings of impermanence. Thank you.
Thank you, Cecilia. We warmly welcome Lama Chodek Rinpoche from the Vajrayana Buddhist tradition in the Shakya lineage, representing the Tibetan Buddhist Society of Canberra, to bless us with a Vesak message.
Hello, happy Vesak and many warm greetings to all the Buddhist community out there. I would like to thank the Buddhist Council of Australia for having taken the initiative to invite everyone to participate in this online celebration of Vesak on this very special year that we are facing the great crisis in the world due to the spread of this epidemic disease. So what is very important to remember the teachings of the Buddha, the fully enlightened one, is the fully enlightened one, and at the age of 29 already knew that the death was very certain, and so therefore he realized that death is not something to reject and deny, but rather something to accept, and therefore try to do what one needs to do most important before that actually happens. So for the Buddha to have the vision and insight to devote his life from age 29 till he passed away on 81 years. So he's passing away, and then after and his birth, and then in the middle, his attainment of enlightenment, which occurred at the age of 36. These three events, birth, enlightenment, and passing away, all occurred on the same full moon of May. So can you believe that anyone being able to achieve enlightenment, let alone being able to attain enlightenment on his birthday, and also pass away on the very day that he attained enlightenment. So Buddhists celebrate this triple sacred day with a great importance. From in 1956, the Indian government, after only says 8 years after they got independent, hosted the biggest celebration of the Buddhist world in these couple of centuries. Is the celebration of 2500th anniversary of not just the birth, but also enlightenment. Not just the enlightenment, but also passing away. All of the three, which took on the same day, and then invited His Holiness Dalai Lama and Pancha Lama and various head of Buddhist states, who sent their emissaries, and then hosted this special celebration in New Delhi. And as a result of that, they passed a resolution to announce the celebration of the full moon in May, the Vesak Purnima, as the official holiday in India and many other countries who participated. Could you believe even countries like Malaysia and Indonesia, Singapore, as well as other countries who participated in that, they all agreed, and nowadays it is an official public holiday in those countries. And that was because they all honored the great, what you call activities or great contribution made by the Buddha in this world. So I'm going to talk briefly about the teachings of the Buddha. Teachings of the Buddha is called Dharma. Dharma means the way. It is like a kind of it's a know-how instruction how to understand your own mind and its inconsistencies. And this is best achieved through self-discipline and meditation, which then give rise to the wisdom. This wisdom concerning the nature of one's own mind and how many of our sufferings and problems are all created by this very person who himself is not aware of what his mind is doing. So this awareness with which one can detect and then change and modify and transform the mind is what we call a mental strategy called Dharma, which therefore purifies our mind of karma and afflictions through the self-discipline, meditation, and the wisdom that is generated from that. So therefore the Buddha's teaching it promotes that sentient beings or human beings particularly, not knowing these, are creating a lot of suffering and a cause of suffering by themselves through their own ignorance, and still tend to externalize and lay blame onto things, to people or things or objects. And so the one who is embarks onto the path learns to how not to do that by learning to detect one's own mind and to try to see how deluded one's mind can be under the sway of greed, hatred, ignorance. And if one is able to detect them, and then of course one is able to see the difference it makes to be able to detect. Most people are not aware of their own afflictions. Because they are not aware of their affliction, they are deluded in externalizing and laying blame onto things outside to things. But those who have meditated and observed self-discipline and practice the Dharma, they realize that things are not as they appear outside from the object point of view, but they are rather projection of one's own mind at play. So being able to do that, they no longer externalize things to things, but rather they see that that is something one needs to do inner work within one's own mind. So one who observes discipline, meditation, can therefore dim those afflictions or reduce those afflictions to to use the exact kind of terminology in these days, you can say they learn to try to flatten the curve of their greed and hatred and ignorance. When they're able to do that, then they can change the perception of things and people, and therefore they have experiential perception of a practitioner who no longer sees objects of someone who is hostile towards oneself with aggression, but rather with compassion, because his or her mind is able to see the plight of other being, and therefore do not get exacerbated by the person's aggression, because he can practice loving kindness and compassion by purifying his mind. He can also change his perception of the object, because perception of object is largely colored and changed, modified by one's own mind. When oneself purify one's mind, then the object purify and change at your liking. So therefore, there is a chance of the power of discipline and meditation that your previously assumed objects of hostility becomes actually object of your loving kindness and compassion. So therefore, it can highest by kind of mindfulness, lack of enmity and aversion to others by the power of one's self-discipline and meditation. And because of that wisdom one gained through that, then one can actually see the mind as instead filled with loving kindness and compassion to the deluded other beings who do not have access to this way of this strategy of thinking, and oneself, of course, do not even see one's own notion or identity as truly existing, let alone the kind of drama that mind creates. Even the self itself, the body, the name, the identity, gender, are not really truly existing. Because of that, how ordinary sentient beings get so lost in believing their perceptions of truly existence. So therefore, Buddha said, you must practice with diligence, and by realizing everything is impermanent, including this very life, and therefore not invest time in greed and hatred and ignorance, but rather contain them through self-discipline, by mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of thoughts, mindfulness of speech, and practice kindness and compassion to those who are crippled by not having this awareness. So therefore, the idea of a dharma becoming medicine of the mind makes the person become more literate about his or her emotional instabilities causing internal suffering. So one who is able to do that can then end their own sufferings and be of benefit to others. So therefore, it's very important, one who reflects on the qualities of the triple gem, the Buddha gem, the Dharma gem, and Sangha gem, they themselves having the good fortune to have refuge in the triple gem, and then learn to change their own mind and purify them through the dharmic remedy. And as one is able to do that, then one can see the appearance of people, things around oneself with no deluded kind of a sway anymore on one's mind, but rather the compassionate, wise, and a very self-disciplined manner of perception of the around. Then one might even have a very small nirvana, I would say, small ending of sorrow, small putting out of the fire of sorrow can take place, not by some external deity or God or Buddha, but rather through one's own initiative, through Shila, what is called discipline, and then Dhyana, which is meditation, and then Prajna, which is the wisdom that one attains from doing these three practices, what is called three higher trainings. So on this auspicious Vesak day, I would like to thank everyone, Buddhist Council, for organizing this, and may all have a wonderful and lovely day, as well as a year to reflect how vulnerable our life is, and therefore start living more mindfully, minding your thoughts, minding your speech, minding your own perceptions, rather than minding things external to oneself. So with this, I would like to conclude here. Thank you very much. May you all have a blessed day due to your blessings of the Triple Gem. Thank you very much.
Continuing in Vajrayana Buddhism, this time from the Gelugpa tradition, we now move to South Australia to meet Gen Thubten Tongdrup from the Buddha House, who will do a reading in English of the recollection of the 12 deeds. A very meaningful recollection, especially for this time of Vesak.
Born in the Shakya clan through skillful compassion, unconquered one, subduer of Mara's horde, your body shines like a pile of gold. King of the Shakyas, homage to you. You who first produced the thought of Bodhi, then completed both accumulations, merit and wisdom, with vast deeds becoming beings protector in this age, I'll praise. Knowing, tamer of gods, it was time to tame us, you came, descending from heaven as an elephant, saw your caste and entered in the womb of Queen Maya, homage to this deed. When 10 months completed, you were born Shakya Prince in fortunate Lumbini Grove. Supreme marks honoured by Brahma and Chakra confirmed your Bodhi lineage. Homage to this deed. As a powerful youth lying amongst men, you showed your skill in Anga Magadha, put an end to men of pride and had none to match you. Homage to this deed. By skillful means to conform to the laws of the world and for avoidance of blameworthiness, you ruled at court, possessed a female retinue. Homage to this deed. Seeing samsaric doings had no essence, you left your home and going in the air, did the true act of going forth before the quite pure sanctuary. Homage to this deed. Thinking to reach enlightenment through effort, for 6 years you practiced austerities on Naranjana's bank and perfecting perseverance, won highest concentration. Homage to this deed. To make worthwhile your efforts without beginning, sitting beneath the Bodhi tree in Magadha, in unshakable posture, you fully awakened to perfect Bodhi. Homage to this deed. Swiftly observing beings with compassion, you turned the wheel of Dharma in Varanasi and other holy places, setting disciples on the 3 vehicles. Homage to this deed. To put an end to evil opponents in the land of Koromojik, you subdued Maras, Devadatta, 6 Tirthaka teachers and others, sage victorious in battle. Homage to this deed. With qualities unmatched in the 3 worlds, worshipped by all beings divine and human, at Shravasti you showed a mighty miracle, spreading the doctrine. Homage to this deed. To exhort the lazy in the Dharma at the pure site Kushanagari, you destroyed your deathless Vajra-like body, entering Nirvana. Homage to this deed. Though seeing there is no destruction in reality, so future sentient beings could gather merits, you manifested many relics there, remains in 8 portions. Homage to this deed. Through the virtue of praising briefly thus the manner of deeds of the Lord, the Master of Dharma, may the conduct of all migrating beings be similar to the deeds of the Sugata. As is your body Tathagata, as are your entourage and length of life, Buddha realm and excellent supreme marks, so may mine and others become too. Through these praises and requests to you, in the lands where I and others dwell, quelling sickness, poverty and conflict, please let Dharma and good fortune flourish. By the teacher's coming to the world, by his doctrine's brilliance like sunlight, and by close accord of its holders and their disciples, long may the doctrine abide. Let all be auspicious.
We request Venerable Dharmika from Amawatura Buddhist Centre in New South Wales in the Theravada tradition to chant a blessing in Pali.
Buddha Day is a day for peace and kindness. Elaborate ceremonies aside, the important celebration is in one's own heart. Buddhist focus on celebrating Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, remembering the kindness of others. යංකින්චි විත්තං ඉදවා හොරංවා සග්ගේසු වායං රතනං පනීතං නනෝ සමං අත්ති තථාගතේන ඉදංපි බුද්ධේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු khayang viragam amatang panitang yadacchaga sakya muni samahito natena dhammena samatti kinchi idang pidhamme ratanang panitang etena sacchena suvatti hotu ye puggala atta satang pasattha chatthariyetani yugani honti te dakhineya sugatassa savaka ete sudinnani mahappalani idang pisanghe ratanang panitang etena sacchena suvatti hotu sabbe buddha balappatta paccekanang cayang balang arahang thanang ca tejena rakkang bandami sabbaso sabbetiyo vivajjantu sabbarogo vinassatu mate bhavattvantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava bhavatu sabba mangalang rakkantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sabba dhammanubhavena sabba sanghanubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te.
We will now cross over to Western Australia to meet with the President of the Buddhist Council of Western Australia, Mr. Bun Tan, and who will introduce the next presenter from Bodhinyana Monastery in Western Australia to offer the taking of the refuges and the 5 precepts.
Greetings to you from Western Australia. We wish everyone a wonderful Vesak celebration. Hi, I'm Bun Tan, the current President of Buddhist Council of Western Australia. The Buddhist Council of Western Australia is a big body liaising the federal and state government representing the Buddhist community in WA. We have 11 members consisting of all the 3 major traditions, the Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana. Let me share with you some of the activities that we've done in WA. We've celebrated Vesak together. We supported recognition of LGBTQI community. We participated in the WA Museum project, provided inputs to the government policy making. We've helped with the safe security of Buddhist community in WA. We've helped promote environmental conservation, applied for grants that benefited our members. Our focus at present is to bring in a chaplaincy or similar program so that Buddhists can provide recognized spiritual services in places like hospitals, prisons, schools. This is a small step but a significant step for the Buddhist community in WA. There are so many things, so many other projects we would like to do if we have the right skill, enough finance, and sufficient human resources. Again, wishing you a wonderful Vesak celebration from Western Australia. Let me take this opportunity to introduce to you a well-known teacher who resides in Western Australia, Venerable Ajahn Brahm. Ajahn Brahm will say a few words for the Vesak. Over to you, Ajahn.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So please say the Namo tassa or homage to the Buddha 3 times. Now we chant the 3 refuges. We do those 3 times. I'll say them one at a time. When I finish the first one, please, you repeat it in Pali or in English, whichever you prefer. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. That completes the 3 Buddhist refuges, which is common to all Buddhist traditions, showing one's commitment for refuge as a resource for safety, for wisdom, for inspiration to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. Almost defines you as being a Buddhist. And now for the 5 precepts. For those of you who do not know what those 5 precepts are, the first precept is to refrain from intentionally killing living beings which can be seen. So bacteria, viruses like COVID-19, that is not breaking a precept to overcome that virus by whatever works. These are visible beings. Second precept is not to take what is not given to you, not to steal. And that even means, please excuse me for this, even means like filling out your tax returns accurately, not cheating. It doesn't matter if everybody else does it. Buddhists don't do it. We're honest. we don't steal. And the third precept is not committing sexual misconduct, in particular not adultery, not sexual abuse, not using your position as a teacher, as someone in authority, to demand sexual favors and abuse others. And especially if you're committed in a relationship, to keep within that relationship so your partner can trust you. And the fourth precept is to refrain from lying. There may be times you say something, you find out afterwards it was wrong. But that's not deliberately lying, that's just making a mistake. Just like when I said that I used pineapple to wash, that was just a mistake. So the intentional deliberate lying is we refrain from. And lastly, we refrain from taking alcohol, even small amounts. Because they used to say the drink, you take a drink, then the drink takes a drink, then the drink takes the person. So it's a danger. So it's much better to have non-alcoholic beverages, and that means you are safe. And the same with non-medicinal drugs. Drugs which you take just for recreation, for highs, because they may feel like they're pleasant for you, but they end up sort of distorting your cognitive process. You can't be as mindful, as clear as you were before, when it's not done for medicinal reasons only, from a doctor. So, those are the 5 precepts. I will now recite them. Again, I will recite them in Pali because that means so much more to me. But you do have the translations there, so you can always chant it after I've finished, in Pali or in English. Panatipata Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. Adinadana Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. Kamesu Michachara Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. Musawada Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. Suramiraya Majapamadatana Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. Those are the 5 Buddhist precepts. You try to refrain, which doesn't mean to stop. The fact you break a precept, you feel that you're terrible. No, these are training precepts. If you do break a precept, you try and find out why. You learn from the mistake and you make sure you don't do it again as best you possibly can. These are guidelines for our life which we try and keep as best we can. Not to deliberately kill living beings. Not to steal. Not to do sexual misconduct like adultery or sexual abuse. Not to lie, and not to take alcoholic drinks or non-medicinal drugs, which take away one's awareness, the ability to know what's going on around you. So those of you who may have said it not quite correct when you were repeating it, you may have maybe not finished it, and I was too fast for you, but it doesn't matter. You've come here in front of your computer listening, trying your best to determine those 5 precepts. You have taken them. You've determined them. So now I give you the blessing of those who have taken the 5 precepts. Imani panchasika padani silena sugating yanti silena bhoga sampada silena niputing yanti tasma silang visodaye. These 5 precepts, they lead to a happy abiding. They lead to the accumulation of good things, even physical things. You don't waste stuff. And they lead to even nibbana. Therefore, please, to the best of your ability, please keep these precepts pure as something very valuable to you.
To generously provide us with an explanation and recitation of the Ratana Sutta are Bhante Sujato, founder of Sutta Central, and Bhante Arkaliko, founder of Rain Bodhi, both from the Lokanta Vihara monastery at the end of the world in Sydney.
Hi everyone, I'm Bhante Sujato and this is Venerable Arkaliko, and we are here at the Lokanta Vihara in Harris Park. And we are very delighted to be sending this message for you on the occasion of the combined Vesak organised by the Buddhist Council of New South Wales. And I'd just like to give a shout out to our friends at the Buddhist Council and just to say, express our appreciation and gratitude for all of their hard work in helping to pull together and support the Buddhist community in this time. I think it's a fantastic work that they're doing. So we've been asked to say a few words and then do some chanting of the Ratana Sutta. And the Ratana Sutta is, in this time, one of the most popular chantings done in the Theravadan tradition around the world because, according to the tradition, the Ratana Sutta was spoken during a time of pandemic. And the story goes that at the time in Vesali had been gripped by a pandemic, by a plague, and that everybody was trying to look for a cure, trying to find some solution, and through the curative powers of the Ratana Sutta, the plague was vanished, and through the glory of the power of the Triple Gem. So does that mean that chanting the Ratana Sutta is going to cure you of the COVID-19? No, it does not. Please maintain social distancing and wash your hands and do all of the other physical things that you need to do to protect yourself from the virus. But by reciting the Ratana Sutta, we call to mind the Triple Gem, the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, and we call to mind the qualities that they invoke, and that gives us something that helps to lift up our mind. It gives us something to aspire to. And the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, for those of us who are following the path of the Buddha, represent the highest qualities that we can imagine. And the promise that the Buddha made was that these things are not just magic, they're not just some kind of metaphysical claim, but it's a reality about human development and human potential. So by following the Buddha's path, then we too can realize these blessings for ourselves. So the Ratana Sutta is a very popular chant for devotion throughout the Theravadan world, and it is one that is a beautiful text to memorize. It's one that has a very particular poetic flavour in terms of the kinds of imagery that's being used. It's very kind of distinctive and quite personal text. It feels like quite a distinctive work. It's like many of the verses we find in Buddhism are quite generic, like they're sayings that could be attributed to anyone at any time. But this feels very specific and very localized. And so I'd encourage you all, if you have some time during this time of lockdown and social isolation, to do some chanting, memorize the Ratana Sutta. Here at Lokanta Vihara, we're chanting it as part of our 717 service. Every day we're chanting at 7 a.m., 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. You can find us on Dhammanet on YouTube. and we chant the Ratna Sutta at the midday service or the 1 o'clock service. So if you want to learn it, come along and chant it with us. We'll be chanting the abbreviated form of this text as is normally done in the Thai tradition. So if you hear a longer version, then that's the full version, which is usually chanted in the Sri Lankan and Burmese traditions. Yang kinci vitang itawa orang wasage suhayang ratanang panitang nano sama athitatha gatena idam pibunhe ratanang panitang etena sachena suwa Tiho tukayang viragam mamatang panitang yada jaga sakyamuni samahito natena dhammena samadhi kinchi idam pidhamme ratanam panitang etena sachena suvattiho tuyam buddha seto parivarnai sucim samadhima Anantarikan yamahu samadhina tena samo navijyati idam pidhamme ratanang panitang etena sachena suvati hotu ye pugala atasatang pasata chatari etani yugani honti teda kineya sugata sasavaka ete sudinna nimaha palani idam pisanghe ratanang panitang etena sachena suvati hotu yesu payuta manasa dalhe nanika minogo tamasa sanam ite patipata amatang vigaya lada mudhani buddhing punjamana idam pisanghe ratanang panitang etena sachena suvatiho tukirang puranang navam nati sambhavang virata citta yatike bhavasming te kirna bija aviruli chanda nilbanti dhira yathayam padipo idam pisanghe ratana panitang etena sachena suvati hotu.
In the Theravada tradition, there is a well-known sutta that is traditionally chanted in Pali, the language similar to that spoken by the Buddha. This popular sutta is now also chanted in English, allowing us to appreciate the meaningful and very practical advice from the Buddha. This is the Metta Sutta, the Buddha's discourse on loving kindness. We will now take you to Queensland to meet Ajahn Dharmasiha and his fellow monastics at Dharmagiri Forest Hermitage to recite the Metta Sutta. There will also be subtitles, so we of this book.
This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, one, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being free from all sense desires, is not born again into this world.
The next part of our program consists of a series of Dharma talks and a guided meditation. Our first item will be a guided meditation that continues the theme of loving kindness that will help us to develop the sincere wish for the goodwill of all beings. Venerable Dr. Ju Wei from Ngan Tien Institute in New South Wales will conduct this meditation, which we are calling Novel Karuna, as opposed to coronavirus, as a powerful source of health in these challenging times.
Auspicious greetings. I am Ju Wei from the Ngan Tien Institute. The Humanistic Buddhism Center here developed a novel coronavirus meditation by combining the karuna or compassion of the Pure Practice chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra and the loving kindness in the Metta Sutta for those of us in compassionate isolation. I would like now to welcome you to join me in a very short adaptation of this novel coronavirus meditation. Please settle yourself into a very comfortable position and gently bring your attention to your breath. As I pay attention to my breath, may I always abide in kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity in every thought, speech, and action. As I pay attention to my breath, may everyone in my household always abide in kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity in our every thought, speech, and action. As I pay attention to my breath, may everyone in the essential services sector always abide in kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity in every thought, speech, and action. As I pay attention to my breath, may everyone who is ill, homeless, or suffering always abide in kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity in every thought, speech, and action. As I pay attention to my breath, may all beings always abide in kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity in every thought, speech, and action. Thank you for joining the Nantian Institute in this very short practice of the novel coronavirus meditation. May you, your loved ones, and all beings be safe and well.
I hope we can all transform any worries about coronavirus to coronavirus. But on a more serious note, coronavirus and the restrictive measures that have been in place have caused concerns relating to people's physical health, but also mental health. We have invited clinical psychologist Dr. Chen Hongwei to offer some advice on how to deal with our mental well-being during these times.
Happy Vesak, everyone. It is a very unusual year for us, nationally and also globally. Our community are facing various different challenges, and it's times like this that it's important for us to make sure we take care of ourselves, especially our mental health and our mental well-being. There are a few things that can be useful for us to keep in mind. Firstly, making sure that we take care of our physical health. After all, a healthy body helps to develop a healthy mind. Making sure that we have enough time to rest, and also time away from digital screens and technology. Making sure that we make time to go outdoors at least once a day, and even to exercise and stay active. Secondly, staying connected with each other. It is really important for us to stay connected as a community with our families, friends, the broader community, and our Sangha. It is important for us to reach out to support one another, and also when we ourselves are in need, for us to feel comfortable to receive support and to reach out to others as well. Thirdly, practicing meditation. The Buddha has given us wonderful and beautiful teachings around practices such as loving kindness, such as mindfulness. All these practices help develop and strengthen the mind. It gives us the resilience, the resources to manage the ups and downs in life. Lastly, practicing gratitude. Despite all the challenges that are currently in our lives, there's often much to be grateful for. It is really important for us to keep these in mind and not lose sight of the goodness that's around us. May you all be well, happy and healthy. Happy Vesak once again.
Next, we are blessed to listen to a Dharma talk from Vajra Master Sha Khenpo Rinpoche Jangfrey Longdro. He is from the Jonang tradition and the spiritual director of the Tibetan Rimé Institute in Victoria. His teaching will last for approximately 10 minutes.
Om Delak Sachirji. Hi, all my dear brothers, Sanghas in the world. As everybody knows, we today celebrate Buddha Shakyamuni's birthday, right? So, what we should reflect, what is really real celebration for Buddha? In my point of view, to be real celebration for Buddhas is we have to have a realization that we have so fortunate to be Buddha's follower, and we are so fortunate to have this pursues Dharma as our path. And also we have to realize incredible appreciation of our Arya Sanghas as our role models. How to we take this path? But not only that, but also especially very important how pursues our ordinary Sangha communities is a companion for go to the Buddhahood. Because sometimes we are not enough unit. Our unit is not that strong. So if we really want to be real Buddha Shakyamuni's follower, and if we really want to reach our Buddha nature, if we really want to actualize enlightenment, full enlightenment, if we really want to liberate all sentient beings from the suffering of the perpetuity, the most important thing, we have to have incredible respect and appreciate each other so we can inspire other people. So our Buddha Shakyamunis, the pursues the Dharma to flourish everywhere. But if our union is not that strong, if we don't understand each other very well, even sometimes we criticize each other, different background, culture, Buddhist. And how can we inspire other people? If we cannot inspire other people, how we liberate them up to Buddhahood? So this is serious to think about. So the most important realization we should have, Buddha has multiple teachings. And then we have to know why Buddha has multiple teachings. Not only that, but also we have to know the multiple teachings appears match each other. Really they match each other? The answer, not necessarily appears match each other for superficial level. Those who don't understand the very deep level of the meaning, not always a match, and sometimes you could see as a contradiction. These causes our traditions, different traditions, we make distance from each other. And sometimes we even criticize each other. So this affects our unity. This no unity is not very strong. We cannot inspire other people. This is obstacle of flourish our Dharma all over the world. So think about, we should often think how many Buddhist followers, Buddha's followers on this world and other non-believers and belief systems, how they're big. So if you really believe the Buddha Shakyamuni's path is the best liberation, then how can we inspire other people? There is no inspiration, we cannot help them. If we cannot help them, we cannot liberate them. So if we cannot liberate them, then our love and compassion, unconditional love and compassion, bodhicitta, is just empty words. So this is very important to know. The other important to know is how we make this precious Dharma everyone understand and everyone appreciate. This is, I think, we have some problem. The problem is we are fixed on a certain teachings. We take everything literally, and we fixed on that. We fixed certain words and certain sentences, and also we fixed on certain cultures and habits, certain rituals. We fixed on this, and then we cannot see Dharma beyond that. So this is not a very inspirational for other people. So we have to understand even the Buddha's teachings is timeless. In general, yes, Buddha's teachings are timeless and suitable for all sentient beings. However, the main emphasis not necessarily suitable for everyone, any time. Why? Because Buddha's main emphasis teachings at that time of people's set of the mind, set of the culture. So if we are fixed on that now in the 21st century, we will not able to flourish our Dharma on the world. So we have to have a different approach, different emphasis, not to contradict Buddha's teachings, but still has a different methods, a different process, different approach, different emphasis, different extensions, different breakdowns. We need this. With this, then we really doing real celebration Buddha's precious teachings. And we really are true Buddha's follower. So this is called Rime Tibetan Buddhism, non-biased approach. So I researched 12 years all over the religion in the world, and I have a book on that. So please, everybody read this so we can be Buddha Shakyamuni's real follower, and we can be real Dharma holders, and we can be the liberator of all sentient beings. Please, I see you next time. Then we see the progress.
Thank you, Rinpoche. To provide us with some reflections on Vesak Day is Dr. Joyce Mann from Australian Association of Buddhist Counsellors and Psychotherapists.
Happy Vesak, everyone. My name is Dr. Joyce Mann, and I'm here to represent the Australian Association of Buddhist Counsellors and Psychotherapists. ABCAP runs a number of professional development programs, one of them being the Professional Development Training Program that is run for our helping professions on Buddhism and psychotherapy. As we commemorate Shakyamuni Buddha's birth, we're reminded of just how timeless his teachings are. And in these very uncertain times, that life is suffering, and suffering is part of life. That there is a cause, but more importantly, there is a way out of suffering. When we practice the Dharma, we build our inner steadiness and our wisdom. And this is exactly what we need to rely on in these times. As a member of the helping profession, we do our best to support the mental well-being of our community. But first and foremost, we must learn to safeguard our own minds and our own mental health. And that needs to come through from our own practice. The Buddha taught us to look very deeply into our minds, and he taught a method to wipe away the dust and to ultimately see things as they truly are. A reality that is free from our own greed, our hatred, and our ignorance. I want to take this opportunity to wish you a lovely Vesak. May you be well and happy, and may you continue to walk the Buddha path.
During the lockdown, many people suffered from loneliness and isolation from not being able to visit their families and friends. In this original performance called United Through Loving Kindness, this theme is explored through contemporary dance on how loving kindness may unite us again despite the distance. The piece is filmed in a style that imitates the many self-created videos emerging during these times. The performers and creators of this piece are Elise Carr and Angelica Casado, offering this work on behalf of the Mitra Buddhist Youth Network in New South Wales.
In our multicultural and multi-faith Australian community, interreligious dialogue is an important process in bringing our diasporic population together. The promotion of harmonious living and unity between peoples, regardless of their faiths, is crucial in these isolating times. In a wonderful display of spiritual solidarity, we would like to invite our friends from the interfaith community to conduct prayers and offer supportive messages at this most auspicious time of Vesak. To offer us a prayer from the Christian's perspective is Reverend Deborah Bird from the Anglican Church in Toowoomba in Queensland.
Thank you for inviting me to share in the celebration of Vesak. It's wonderful that we can gather from so many different places, so greetings from St Anne's in Toowoomba to all the places where you are. Compassion is a language that speaks across distance. Jesus overcame all kinds of human boundaries with the practice of kindness, and in this pandemic environment, it's the kindness that we see between strangers and neighbours that have, for some of us, enhanced a sense of connectivity and hope, even despite physical distancing. What's more, every act of kindness that we see reminds us that we each have great agency in promoting the well-being of our neighbours. Archbishop Desmond Tutu once said, "Do your little bit of good where you are." It's all those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. Today we may not be able to light candles together, but we can light candles in many places, doing our little bit of good for the goodwill and life of our neighbours and community. So in that spirit of reaching out and coming together, I'd like to offer you this prayer of peace from St. Francis. Lord, make us an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let us sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is discord, harmony. Where there is error, truth. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. Grant that we may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, and to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. I wish you all a happy and blessed Vesak Day.
I now have the pleasure to invite our friends from the Islamic faith, represented by Mr. Ibrahim Karazli of Amity College in New South Wales, to offer an Islamic prayer of peace.
اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا شر ما قضيت إنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت تباركت ربنا وتعاليت لك الحمد على ما قضيت ولك الشكر على ما أعطيت نستغفرك اللهم من جميع الذنوب والخطايا ونتوب إليك اللهم اقسم لنا من خشيتك ما تحول به بيننا وبين معصيتك ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به جنتك ومن اليقين ما تهون به علينا مصائب الدنيا اللهم إنا نسألك بكل اسم هو لك اللهم ذكرنا منه ما نسينا وعلمنا منه ما جهلنا اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأعتق رقابنا من النار اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولأزواجنا وذرياتنا ومن أوصانا واستوصانا بدعاء الخير اللهم أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت الغني ونحن الفقراء فلا تولنا الخرمان ولا تبلن بالخيبة والخسران ولا تردنا بعد هذا الدعاء خائبين يا جواد يا كريم اللهم لا تدع لنا في مقامنا هذا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا كربا إلا نفسته ولا مريضا إلا شفيته ولا مبتليا إلا عافيته ويسرتها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم إنا نسألك حبك اللهم إنا نسألك من الخير كله عاجله وآجله ونعوذ بك من الشر كله عاجله وآجله اللهم أجرنا من النار وصلى اللهم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.
We are blessed to receive a Hindu prayer from Vijay Singhal from the Hindu Council of Australia.
On behalf of the Hindu Council of Australia, I pray for peace and well-being of all living beings on this earth. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma kaschit dukh bhag bhavet. Om, may all be happy, may all be healthy, may all see what is auspicious, may none suffer. Om Sarvesham Swatir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Santir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Manglam Bhavatu. Om, may all become auspicious, may all attain peace, may all achieve perfection, may all be blessed. Om Asto Ma Sadgamye, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamye, Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamye. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, lead me from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. May God bless you all.
We thank all the faith leaders and practitioners for all their efforts during this time of crisis. We are reminded that it's the unity of all of us, regardless of our faiths and beliefs, that makes Australia the unique country that it is. Speaking of the lucky country, we now take you to the serenity of the Southern Highlands of New South Wales, to a nuns' monastery called Santee Forest Monastery. Venerable Jitindriya stays in this monastery, and here she offers her reflections on the COVID-19 pandemic and how to continue to practice Buddhism during these times.
Warm greetings to everyone tuning in for this special Vesak celebration 2020. It's a special time not only to recollect the birth, the awakening and the parinibbana of the Buddha, but a special time in the world right now. The reason we're gathering together on the internet is obviously because of the pandemic that is affecting the world globally and because of physical distancing measures. This is a time like no other, perhaps, to reflect deeply on the Buddha's message, the Buddha's teaching and the message of his life. His awakening as a human being is something we can reflect on in terms of what is possible for a human life. The Buddha's path of awakening is always about harmlessness, about kindness, about compassion towards ourselves and towards other beings. And human beings, we have no shortage of suffering that we find ourselves in our lives from time to time, whether you're in a well-off existence in a first world developed country, or whether we find ourselves in poorer circumstances or more dire circumstances. The truth of suffering is present for us all to learn from. And the Buddha has taught on many occasions that he teaches not just on suffering, but on freedom from suffering, the fact of cessation from suffering. Suffering itself caused by ignorance, delusion, greed, hatred, delusion, is an impermanent state. And these states of greed, hatred, delusion are also impermanent conditioned states. They're not really who and what we are. And so his message is one of awakening, to snap out of these more destructive or unskillful states that lead to more suffering, more delusion, more hatred, more greed, to find a path, or to align with the path of generosity, of kindness, of compassion, of letting go, and to discover for ourselves where that leads. When we learn to let go, when we actually have an experience of letting go and non-clinging, we can find a space of peacefulness in the heart-mind, which is quite a surprise to us when it happens. And this we can find no matter what circumstances we find ourselves in. So this message of the Buddha is to look inwards, to use the very faculties of the human mind, of mindfulness, of attention, of stillness, of clarity, to really build these qualities until we see clearly the nature of the conditions of the mind, the nature of the suffering mechanisms of the mind, and to see that when we don't cling, when we don't identify with those, that there is the possibility, there is the reality of peace, of stillness, of wisdom to be found in letting go. And this letting go is not a non-response to the world. It is a way of being in the world that allows us to move and behave and live in the world more freely, more at ease, more compassionately, more kindly, with wisdom. No longer creating the causes for more suffering, but rather creating causes for peace, for happiness, for freedom. This is the deep message of the Buddha through his own path of awakening, through realizing the full extent of the nature of the conditioned world and the unconditioned reality. This is his message to us, that we have the capacity, that all beings have the capacity to awaken. And it just takes a little faith in that for us to take the step to be mindful, to reflect upon the causes of our experiences of happiness or peace, or of unhappiness, of unpeacefulness, to reflect upon the causes and to veer away as much as possible from those things that cause harm to ourselves, that we feel here, and cause harm to others. This is a way of training the mind. But most of us might think it's such a long way away before we realize this full awakening. But that's not true. It's not a true way to think. The more you walk on this path, you see the imminence of the reality that the Buddha is pointing to. That can be realized here and now, each wise person for themselves, or each person for themselves, with wisdom. So mindfulness and wisdom is not something we're bereft of, but it is something we can develop or neglect. The Buddha's encouragement was to develop that, and through this development we will find those very spiritual factors strengthening and coming to fruition in full clarity, full wisdom, full awakening. The way we walk along this path of the Buddha's practice is as important as the way we think about it. So the attitudes of kindness and compassion are foremost. We must develop this quality of kindness and compassion towards all of our experiences. Whatever we experience for ourselves, no matter how painful it might be, we need to come to a place where we consider how to be kind towards that, how to be compassionate with that. Until we can do this for ourselves, it will be very hard to do it in relation to others and in outer circumstances. But as I said earlier, just a little bit of practice in this way, mindfulness, kindness, compassion, brings us into a place of clarity, of peace and understanding. And this will guide us in our path, in our practice. So I encourage you all today to, when you reflect on what the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha means for you, to remember that the Buddha is pointing to the fact of the reality that we can awaken. Human beings can awaken out of suffering into a peaceful understanding of the way things are. We can see the way things are all around us if we look with right view to recognize the changing nature of all conditioned states. They're not who and what we are. It's only when we grasp at them and identify with them that suffering takes hold. This is what we learn over and over again when we inquire inward and when we reflect outwardly. When we understand this allows us to let go, to be more open, and to rest in that quality of peace in the heart, the Dhamma lying in the heart. And the quality of Sangha is to trust in that capacity that we all have, that goodness, to trust in goodness and trust in the capacity you have to awaken. So for me, this is what the message of the Buddha is about. And I can use that no matter what circumstance I find myself in, no matter how confused or fearful or anxious or averse, the worst case scenarios. I can always reflect in this way to find the peace within that. So I wish for all of you to remember your own wondrous qualities, to trust in your capacity to awaken, and to remember to engage those spiritual faculties from moment to moment to build that raft to the other shore, crossing the sea of samsara. I wish you all the blessings of the Triple Gem on this special day.
We now move from the southern highlands to the hills of the Sunshine Coast hinterland in Queensland to a Buddhist retreat centre and a study centre, and there we will meet Venerable Thukten Chökyi from Chenrezig Institute. Firstly, she will take us through the Vedra speech of Mahasiddha Tangtong Gyalpo, the blessed prayer known as liberating Sakya from disease. This prayer was composed and recited at a time of a breakout of a contagious disease in Tibet, which was subsequently pacified. Following this, she will then lead us in a 3-minute guided meditation on coping with fear and anxiety during COVID-19.
Sanye churan sakhe chonamla jangchu badu dabni kepsuchi dagi jinsogi pesonamki drola panche sangye drupa so sanye churan sakhe chonamla jangchu badu dabni kepsuchi dagi jinsogi pesonamki drola panche sangye drupa so sanye churan sakhe chonamla jangchu badu dabni kepsuchi Dagi jinsogi pesonam ki drola panche sangye drupashu. So this prayer, the Vajra speech of Mahasiddha Tangtong Gyalpo, the blessed prayer known as liberating Sakya from disease. So this was from a time in Tibet when there was contamination, contagious disease. And so by composing, reciting this prayer, then that disease was pacified. All sentient beings, my mothers who are infinite like space, go for refuge to the precious Guru Buddha. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of Gurus, Yadams and Dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dhammakaya. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of Gurus, Yadams and Dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dhammakaya. We go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dhamma and the Sangha. We go for refuge to the assembly of Gurus, Yadams and Dakinis. We go for refuge to the empty clarity of our own minds, the Dhammakaya. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. May all the diseases that sadden the minds of sentient beings, that result from karma and temporary conditions, such as the harms of spirits, illnesses and the bhutas, not occur in the realms of this world. May whatever sufferings there are from life-threatening diseases that, like a butcher leading an animal to be slaughtered, separate the body from the mind in a mere instant, not occur in the realms of the world. May all embodied beings be unharmed by acute, chronic and other epidemic diseases, the mere sounds of whose name terrify beings, as though they had been placed inside the mouth of Yama, the Lord of Death. May all embodied beings be unharmed by the 80,000 classes of interferers, the 360 evil spirits that harm suddenly, the 424 diseases, and so forth. May whatever the sufferings there are due to disturbances of the four elements, depriving the body and mind of every happiness, be totally pacified, and may the body and mind have radiance and power, and be endowed with long life, good health, and well-being. By the compassion of the Gurus and the Three Jewels, by the power of the Dakinis, Dharma protectors and guardians, and by the power of the truth of the infallibility of karma and its results, may all these dedications and prayers be fulfilled. Gewadi nyutuda glama sangye tribgune jowa chikyang malupa de sarago pashu chanchub sencho grimposhe ma ke panam ge kuchi ke panyam pa me payang gong ne gong du pa wa shu. So, preparing for this meditation, simply bringing your mind into the space of the body, and your body in a space of relaxation, stillness, alertness. And simply focusing on the breath in its natural rhythm. I think I'm engaging in this brief meditation to pacify the disturbances of the mind caused by fear, anxiety, even sleeplessness, concern about the sufferings of this time. Maybe our own suffering, maybe the suffering of others in this time of pandemic in the world, affecting all beings. So allowing your mind to settle gently inside onto the natural rhythm of your breath. And think how very precious it is to have this precious jewel of the Dharma, the Arya Sangha, and today celebrating the turning of the wheel of Dharma by the birth of the Buddha in the world, to have had the karma, to have met the teaching so precious, so dear, to benefit ourselves, to benefit others, all those we encounter. And then when the disturbing states of minds arise, the fear and so forth, thinking, I'm not alone. We are all in this together. All of us, the world, having the same fears, having the same anxieties, having the same wish to be free of all this. And because of our great compassion and concern, loving concern for others, of course, we can't bear to see the suffering others are going through. We wish them to be free. We wish them to be happy. We wish them to be safe. We wish them to be protected from this virus that is so subtle, sneaky, pervading the world. And think that by the power of my prayer, my meditation, my pacifying the disturbing states of mind, may that be of benefit to all beings I encounter, to help them to pacify, to let go, release the anxiety, to let go the fear. And think, may all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of my merits, my practice, my loving concern. No, may no being suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May we be free of that. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression, seeing this pandemic in the world. Releasing the energy around that, relaxing, releasing, softening the heart, allowing the mind to be spacious, light, determined to make a difference. Yes, we can. And setting our altruistic determination, as long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, so too may I remain, to dispel the suffering of transmigratory beings.
It is our great pleasure to hear a special combined Vesak and Mother's Day message from Venerable Mahinda, Spiritual Director of Aloka Meditation Centre in New South Wales.
Sukho Buddhanang Upado. Happy is the birth of all Buddhas. The Buddha is an embodiment of great wisdom and compassion. These two qualities, wisdom and compassion, they are what we need to cultivate, especially during this time of crisis, due to the pandemic outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. Through wisdom, we will know how to take good care of ourselves, and with compassion, we will be able to reach out to others. The birth of the Buddha was the culmination of all the great virtues which he perfected from life to life. Although he was born as a human being, the Buddha's birth was no ordinary birth. He was able to choose the right time, the era to be born. He also chose the country, the locality, the family, and the mother. This is something which ordinary human beings cannot do. But what we can do on this Mother's Day is to pay tribute to all our mothers. The fact that Buddha chose his own mother speaks a lot about the significant role played by the mother in our spiritual quest for enlightenment. The pain and sacrifices that our mothers had to go through when we were born, and the loving, tender care we receive from our mothers as we grow up. All these and more deserves our utmost respect and gratitude to all our mothers. The Buddha even compared metta, or loving kindness, with the love of a mother in this stanza. Mata yatha niyang puttang ayusa ekaputta manurakke evampi sabba bhutesu manasang bhavaye aparimanang. Just as the mother would protect her only child at the risk of her own life, even so, towards all beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. So as we celebrate the birth of the Buddha, let us recall to mind all the goodness of our parents and pay our special tribute to our mothers on this Mother's Day. The Buddha, as a result of all the great virtues that he had perfected from life to life, he was born as a prince in a ruling class. As Prince Siddhartha, he had all what the material world could offer him. He was living in luxury. But he also had the wisdom and courage to renounce all the luxuries of life in search for the truth, for the knowledge to put an end to old age, sickness and death once and for all. This was the result of his great wisdom and compassion. We truly rejoice with all the organizers of this online program to bring together all our Dharma brothers and sisters on this occasion of Vesak, as well as on this Mother's Day. Let us dedicate the merits of this occasion for the well-being and happiness of all our mothers, those in the past, present, and the future. Let us also make the aspiration to continue to grow in the Dhamma's path, developing wisdom and compassion, and all the wholesome qualities until our final liberation, so that we will have the knowledge and skills to help all our mother sentient beings to cross the ocean of samsara. May all suffering beings be free from suffering. May all those in sorrow be free from sorrow. May all those in fear and dangers be free from fear and dangers. May all beings be well and happy. Happy Vesak and happy Mother's Day to all.
We welcome Brother Phap Hai from Mountain Spring Monastery in New South Wales in the Plum Village tradition to conduct the dedication of merits to all mothers and all beings.
So dear friends, the happiest of Vesak greetings to you from all of us at Plum Village, Australia, and from Mountain Spring Monastery. In the Plum Village tradition, Vesak is a time in which we celebrate the birth, the enlightenment, and the parinirvana of the Buddha. And for us especially, it's a time in which we renew our aspirations. This year, we know that many of us are having a special focus on mothers. And in our Zen tradition, we see that the mother of all the Buddhas is wisdom. And so this year, at the time of Vesak, the invitation for us in the Plum Village community is to look and see how we're giving birth to wisdom in our life throughout this coming year. And that would be our invitation for you as well, to look and see how you can give birth to wisdom, to insight, to an open heart in your life through this coming year. What a gift for yourself, for your family, and for the whole of our society that would be. We'd like to offer just a very short chant this evening, calling on the Bodhisattva of great compassion to bring a blessing of peace, a blessing of joy for each one of you. We'll be chanting Namo Avalokiteshvaraya.
What wonderful messages from Venerable Mahinda and our brothers at Plum Village. May we continue to give birth to wisdom in our life, and may today's event give birth to light in these uncertain times by our recollection of how the Buddha shone the light of wisdom through his teachings. So happy Mother's Day to one and all, and also to my mum, happy Mother's Day. Social distancing, can't hug, but I have a present instead. So happy Mother's Day to Mum and all. Now, as we come to the end of our program, we do have a dedication of merits to all beings. We do this because the good that we have accumulated from today, we can now share these merits with others. So please join us as Dr. Susan Murthy Roshi from Zen Open Circle in New South Wales leads us in this session on the dedication of merits.
The merit of our gathering here today, a remarkable gathering in virtual community throughout space and time, to celebrate the birth of the Buddha, the birth of Buddha mind within the world, here in this critical moment of global pandemic. This merit is now freely offered to all sentient beings, to ease the pain in the ring of breath around the world. May all who suffer fear and anguish come to clearly see that all lives are not other than our own precious life, and realize the wisdom of compassion radiating kindness over the entire earth. May all who sacrifice their safety in unselfish and unstinting care for sick and dying people feel their burden greatly lifted by our depth of gratitude and love. May those entrusted with the privilege of leadership in this time of crisis and great change see the wisdom of abandoning the greed, hatred, and ignorance that has so deformed our world, and humbly come to serve the good that all can share. And may all beings adopt the Buddha's spirit of enlightenment and come to know the ease and freedom of an open, caring, waking heart and mind. May all beings be at ease.
And finally, we are privileged to enjoy a cultural performance from Sinsin Yulantio Lukito, who will do a chant of the great compassion mantra.
Tadya Taon Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhisattva Tadya Taon Gate Gate Paragate swaha Tarya Taon Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhisattva.
Simon, what an incredible journey and event this has been.
Indeed, Tina. We're so blessed here in Australia to have so many temples and Buddhist centres from all traditions and cultures. I hope those watching also enjoyed the journey.
Well, let's have a look at what they've been saying on YouTube and Facebook.
So, Buddhist Library has said thank you to everyone involved in organising this lovely event and for bringing us together in this way, with every good wish from Bronwyn. Thank you, Bronwyn.
And I also see here a message from Venerable Metaji, and he says, grateful thanks to everyone who participated and those who put the logistics together. Very uplifting, with much wisdom and compassion.
Ed Wells says that he's enjoying the live stream. Thank you for everyone's effort for presenting this.
And I see here from Jani, happy Vesak to everyone from Sydney, Australia. Thank you for organising this event. Wonderful to take the 5 precepts with Ajahn Brahm, who is from my hometown, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And in fact, it's true, the fact that we can now take precepts even when we're not physically with someone.
It's a great idea. And such joy to see all Buddhist traditions and other religions presenting today. We all move through the world together. Thank you, Helen.
And finally, Mahini, it is a wonderful sharing with other faiths, and there's been lots of comments as well about the different faiths as well and how they've been able to participate in this event. It's a wonderful thing to have.
It seems like this was a wonderful experience for you all. If you would like to support this event, we invite you to make a donation as a token of thanks. We would like again to thank all the wonderful volunteers, contributors, supporters and donors for coming together to make this eVesak event possible.
Thank you all for watching, and we wish you many blessings. Don't forget to support your local Buddhist temple and your state's Buddhist council. Wishing you all a happy Vesak Day and happy Mother's Day. Goodbye.
Bye.